National Broadcasting Company presents Radio City Playhouse, Attraction 11.
Hollywood, California, Monday, June 29th.
Presents the finest in motion picture entertainment, Academy Award.
From Hollywood, Skippy, America's largest selling peanut butter.
Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn, and Jimmy Stewart.
The Lux Radio Theater welcomes you all.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Drama and Theater, brought to you by Dwayne Old Time Radio. Before we get to today's drama, if you enjoy what I'm doing, let me ask you to subscribe to my channel. Subscribing is 100% free, and you will receive notifications on new posts. Lastly, if you have a moment, write a short 1 or 2 sentence review or give a rating on your preferred podcast service. A positive review or rating would help me out a lot. And now, on to the show. Oh yeah, and thanks for your support. I really do appreciate it. 2 eps by Lux Theater, as always, to start the month. We are now in September, and summer's coming to an end, at least here in the U.S. We're going to start with Madam X, starring James Stewart and Anne Harding, June 14th, 1937. And this one is titled Monsieur Beaucaire, which stars Leslie Howard and Elissa Landi. This aired June 21st, 1937.
Hollywood, California, Monday, June 14th. The Lux Radio Theater presents Anne Harding and James Stewart in Madam X. Lux presents Hollywood. Madam X comes to you through courtesy of the makers of Lux Flakes, the most popular fine fabric soap in the world. It is your regular use of Lux that makes the Lux Radio Theater possible, and we want you to know that we appreciate your patronage. Our stars tonight are Anne Harding, James Stewart of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios, and Conway Turl. Our guests, the former First Lady of the Tennis Courts, Mrs. Helen Wills Moody, and from New York, Madam X and her son from Real Life. Produced each week by Cecil B. DeMille with Louis Silvers conducting, this program comes to you direct from the Lux Radio Theater on Hollywood Boulevard, where we bid a hearty welcome to you all. Before we hear Anne Harding, James Stewart, and Conway Turl in Madam X, may I remind you that summer is practically here, with its cool, comfortable cottons, its wash suits and dresses and sport things. These clothes can look so fresh, so crisp and immaculate that it makes you cooler just to see them. And I don't have to tell you how comfortable they feel. There's no reason why your summer things should ever lose their cool, crisp, new look. Lux is especially made to protect them. These delicate flakes are free from the harmful alkali too often found in many ordinary soaps. Any color, any material that's safe in clear water alone is safe in gentle Lux. Make a note to order Lux tomorrow. You'll find the large size box most convenient. And now, the Lux Radio Theater presents its eminent producer, that outstanding pioneer of motion pictures, Mr. Cecil B. DeMille. Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. Anne Harding became an actress because she wanted to write. Employed by an insurance company in New York, she spent her spare time reading novels and plays for famous players Lasky, of which I was Director General, helping our studio in its search for picture ideas. When she decided to study stage technique, she visited the Provincetown Players. They offered her the lead in their next production. Following came 5 offers from Broadway, along with an ultimatum from her father, the late General George Gatley, commanding her to give up the stage or her home. Anne chose the stage. And 8 years passed before the General admitted that an actress in the family, especially an actress like Anne, was no discredit to the Gatleys. Several months ago, Anne went abroad, made a picture in England, and triumphed on the stage in Canada. She returned last month to Hollywood with her husband, the distinguished conductor, Werner Janssen. Tonight in Madam X, she plays the title role. With the same speed that he displayed on the track while attending Princeton University, lanky James Stewart has vaulted into picture popularity. At Princeton, he studied architecture when he could tear himself away from playing the accordion. One summer, he worked as an assistant to a magician. But there is no truth to the rumor that he became a lady killer by sawing a woman in half. From college, he went into summer stock, was stage manager for Jane Cowell, and soon after was acting on Broadway. Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer brought Jimmy to Hollywood, and he's heard tonight as Raymond. In the role of Alan Cartwright, we present Conway Turl, an outstanding personality on the stage and screen for more than 20 years. Out of the limelight for a while, Mr. Turl made a remarkable comeback on the stage in Dinner at 8 and is currently seen in Romeo and Juliet. Now for our play. Our stars make their entrance as the curtain rises, and the Lux Radio Theater presents Anne Harding and James Stewart in Madam X with Conway Turl. The year is 1918. It's late at night, and in the richly furnished library of his home in New York City, Alan Cartwright paces the floor anxiously, waiting for news of his 4-year-old son, who tosses feverishly on a sickbed upstairs. As the door to the library opens, Cartwright crushes out a cigarette with nervous fingers and turns quickly to greet the doctor.
How is he? Is there any change?
He's much better, Alan.
You mean that he'll live?
The crisis is over. His temperature has started to drop already.
Oh, thank God.
He'll be romping all over the house in a few days. Youngsters come back fast. All he needs is rest and quiet.
If anything happens to Raymond, he's all I have left.
Nothing's going to happen to him. Now pull yourself together, Alan. I've left a prescription with the nurse. And something for you, too.
For me? I don't need anything. I'm as fit as a fiddle.
Your nerves are raw, Alan. You've been working too hard. And now, with this, you need a rest yourself, man.
A rest? How can I rest? I have a law practice to attend to.
Your law practice doesn't demand that you kill yourself, does it? Take things easy. You've done nothing but work all your life. It's the only thing you know.
It's the only thing worth knowing.
And one thing more, Alan. I don't like to mention this, but I'm your physician and your friend.
Well?
Jacqueline has been gone for 2 years now. She's not coming back. You've got to begin to accept that fact.
You think that's what's got me down?
Well,
Well, it hasn't. I've no intention of ever allowing her to come back. She's been calling here all day.
Jacqueline?
She heard Raymond was sick. Wanted to see him.
You're going to let her, of course.
No.
But Alan, she's his mother.
She left him and she left me. Life wasn't gay enough for her here. Well, very well then. But I make her own life. Make it or wreck it.
She's young, Alan. Much younger than you. Has it ever occurred to you that perhaps you were to blame, too?
For what?
You were so absorbed in your work. You had so little time for her. It wasn't gaiety Jacqueline wanted. It was companionship, love.
She left Raymond. Her own baby. There's nothing more to be said about it.
Sorry, Alan.
When are you coming to see Raymond again?
I'll drop in later on my way from the hospital. Good night, old man.
Good night.
Just a moment, please.
Oh, good evening, ma'am. Good evening, Bessie. Is Mr. Cartwright in?
Why, yes, ma'am. That is, I'm not sure, ma'am.
How is Raymond?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Cartwright, but Mr. Cartwright said that...
Did he leave orders that I was not to be admitted, Bessie? Is that the trouble?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Is that the doctor back again, Bessie? Let him in. Don't give him... Oh.
Good evening, Alan.
You may go, Bessie. Close the door.
Yes, sir.
Well?
I've come to see Raymond. How is he, Alan?
I told you not to come here.
Oh, please. How is Raymond? Is he any better?
The danger is over.
Oh, may I see him, please?
No.
All I want to do is open the door and look at him.
He mustn't be disturbed.
I won't disturb him.
I'm sorry.
But I'm his mother, Alan. I've a right to see him.
You forfeited that right when you left him 2 years ago. I'm sorry, Jacqueline.
I didn't leave him, Alan. I left you. I had to. It was a mistake, I admit it, a great mistake, but I only meant it to be for a little while, just time enough to think things over. Why didn't you answer my letters, Alan?
I sent you money.
Why didn't you answer my letters?
I was busy.
You were always busy, weren't you, Alan? That was always the trouble. I reached out for you again and again. I could never find you.
You knew what you wanted, Jacqueline. Now you've got it. You left Raymond and you left me.
And there's no returning.
It's too late for that.
Very well. Do you want a divorce, Alan?
No.
No? But you... Oh, I see. It isn't a good thing for a man to be divorced if he wants to be a judge. You'd sacrifice your whole life for that, and mine too, wouldn't you?
It's my career, not yours. I'm sorry, but you'll have to leave now.
I've come here to beg your forgiveness, to ask you for one glimpse of my own baby.
Too much excitement.
I won't excite Raymond. I love him. But you won't let me near him. Clients, courts, a judge's robes. That's what your life is and all it will ever be. You don't know what love means.
Get out.
Opinions, decisions. Human beings aren't bound in leather and filed with your law books. They live. They make mistakes. They forgive and love and keep on living. Oh, please, Alan, let me see him. Let me see my baby.
No, Jacqueline. You say I'm hard. Well, perhaps I am. But it's for his good, too. I don't trust you. You've made me too unhappy. You've ruined my life. You're not going to have a chance to ruin his.
I should hate you for this, Alan, but I can't. I can't feel anything at all for you, except pity. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what it means. But someday you will. And you'll never forgive yourself, Alan. Never.
There. Now light the candles on the cake, Betsy. Hurry up. We'll surprise him.
10 candles. 10 years old today. It seems only yesterday he was a baby, Mr. Cotter.
Letter from Raymond, Alan?
Yes, and listen to this. When my sophomore year's over, I'm planning to switch to pre-law. Pre-law, Perry. What do you think of that?
And it is my privilege this day to award them their diplomas. May they practice their profession in uprightness and in honor. Will the men step forward, please? Albert Ainsworth, John Butler, Howard Bridges, Raymond Cartwright, James Carvell, Gerald Crandall.
Albert Ainsworth, John Butler, Howard Bridges, Raymond Cartwright. There you are, Dad. My name in the newspaper.
I see it, son.
Yeah, you can just about see it, yeah. Pretty small print, isn't it?
A little bit larger someday.
No, not as large as yours, I'll bet. But did you see that story on the record this morning? Alan Cartwright sworn into the state Supreme Court. Well, I got a real kick out of that.
Yeah, so did I.
You've been working for it long enough.
All my life, son.
Now it's here. Hey, you must feel pretty good.
Yes, I suppose I do.
Well, I don't see you throwing any hats into the air or anything. You know, if I ever just get one case, I'll be a success, you know.
Well, success isn't everything, son. You'll find that out as you get older. There's more to life. Oh, much more.
Well, such as what?
Well, a home, friendship, family, a clear conscience.
Well, you have those, Dad?
I have. Most of them. You've been my family, Raymond.
I guess I haven't been much help. It might have been different if Mother had lived. What was she like, Dad?
I thought we were never to mention your mother's name.
Oh, I know. I promised, but why not? It was such a long time ago, and everyone likes to know something about his mother. What she looked like, where she came from, what she did and said. You've never even told me her name.
She died when you were 4. You were ill at the time.
Where's she buried?
What?
Where's Mother buried?
Oh, a long way from here, Raymond. I'll take you there someday.
What was her name, Dad?
Jacqueline.
Jacqueline. That's a beautiful name. She must have been beautiful.
Thomas, John Butler, Howard Bridges, Raymond Cartwright. Raymond Cartwright. Who is it?
Come on, open up.
Just a minute. Oh, come in, Tony.
Hey, you're getting kind of exclusive, ain't you, Jackie? Locking your door now, huh?
I have a right to privacy in my own dressing room.
Sure, but not when the customers are waiting for a number. Come on.
I'll be ready in a minute.
What have you been doing?
Reading the newspapers. Why?
New York papers, huh? What do you read them for all the time? The news is 3 days late.
That's my business, isn't it?
Sure. And maybe the San Francisco sheets don't carry the stuff you're interested in, huh?
What are you talking about?
Now, don't give me that, Jackie. I know you too well. Who is this guy Cartwright?
If you'll get out of here, I'll get ready for my number.
Come on. Who is he? Why have you got a whole drawer full of clippings on him?
How do you know that?
Don't be foolish. I looked.
You're frank enough.
Why not? Alan Cartwright, a prominent attorney, and son Raymond, vacation at Palm Beach. Son Raymond, vacation at Palm Beach. Alan Cartwright appointed to Supreme Court. Who is he, Jackie? Come on, loosen up. Now, what are you trying to do, shake him down?
Get out.
A Supreme Court judge, huh? He's a hot number if you got something on him.
Did you hear what I said? Get out of here. Get out.
There, you see? You get yourself all worked up. You'll be pulling one of those feints of yours in a minute. You want a drink?
No.
Well, I was just thinking. If you have got something on this bird, you ought to count me in. You know, for old time's sake.
I may be pretty low right now. I may have stepped down pretty far to be working in a place like this and for a man like you. But I haven't reached your level yet. Now get out.
All right. That's the way you feel about it. See you outside, Jackie.
Hey, Nick, honestly, what do you want, boss?
Run out and send a wire for me to Joe Harper in New York. Tell him I want some dope on a guy by the name of Alan Cartwright, Supreme Court judge.
Okay.
And look, I want to know especially about his wife, see? Who she was and where she is now. Tell him to get everything he can. I'll meet him in New York a week from Saturday.
Okay.
Joe. Yep. Yeah, I got the stuff you left here. Oh, it's swell. Just what I wanted. No, I can't see you now, Joe. Come around to the hotel tomorrow. So long. Who is it?
Hello, Tony.
Well, if it isn't Jackie. How are you, Jackie?
All right.
I didn't expect to see you here.
Well, they told me you'd gone to New York, so I followed you.
Yeah? What for?
Just to make sure you didn't try anything that might get you into trouble.
Thanks, but I don't need any advice from you, see? I got everything I need, Jackie, and it's a swell story.
Is it?
You see, I know who you are and who your husband is, and your son, too.
And what are you planning to do with that information?
I'm going to do with it what you didn't have the nerve to do. I'm going to use it.
To blackmail him?
Oh, no. I'm just going to tell him where his wife is and what she is.
Oh, no, you're not.
No? And who's going to stop me?
I am. You're not going to ruin my son's career, Tony. I'm not the type to stand by and see you wreck his life.
Yeah? Well, what do you think you're going to do about it?
It's very simple.
Huh? Put that gun down. You don't scare me.
I'm not trying to scare you.
You know where you'll land, don't you?
That doesn't worry me. I can't last much longer anyway, so I've got nothing to lose. You have.
Sure, about $10,000 if I let you bluff me out of it, but you can't, see? Because I'm going to see him right now, tonight.
I'm not bluffing. I mean it. Stay away from my husband.
Get out of my way.
I'm warning you. Stay away from my husband.
I'll show you what I think of you and your warnings.
Don't open that door.
Well, why don't you shoot?
Stay away from that door, I tell you.
So long, bluffer.
What's the matter? What's happened?
In there. Take that room.
Stop. I heard it. What's going on up here?
She killed him.
Grab that woman. I'll get the police. Come here, you.
Take your hands off me. I did it. I'm not trying to escape. I killed him.
Before going on with Madam X, let's stop a minute in a bright and shining little kitchen near Glendale. Brother Bob is staying overnight with Walter and Sally. Walter has just gone out to put the car up. Sally is about to do the dishes while Bob leans against the cupboard near the door.
Oh, Lux Flakes. So you use Lux for dishes, too?
Indeed I do. No dishpan hands for me.
Yeah, that's what Kay says, too.
And she ought to know. Remember how she complained last winter about dishwashing making her hands sore?
You bet I do. Just about the time you came on here for a visit.
Honestly, I didn't believe a girl's hands could look so rough and red. All split around the nails, too. And all because she was using a harsh soap for dishes.
Trying to save money, she said.
Well, I got her to change to Lux. Honestly, it was almost unbelievable how much better her hands looked in just the short time I was there. She says she finds Lux isn't at all expensive.
She sure is proud of her hands now. But I didn't know she had you to thank for it.
Not me. It's the makers of Lux she should thank. Lux hasn't any harmful alkali, you know. It gets the dishes clean in no time at all. Look, I'm practically through already, thanks to
me, as inspiration.
But most of all to Lux.
Once again, Mr. DeMille. Anne Harding, James Stewart, and Conway Turl continue in Madam X. Arrested for the murder of Tony Phillips, Jacqueline is taken to police headquarters. In an office of the Homicide Bureau, she sits in the glare of a blinding electric lamp. Two detectives are cross-questioning her. Captain Keene leans close and raps his hand sharply on the table.
Come on. You admit that you killed a man by the name of Tony Phillips? You admit you went to the Hotel Trent for the purpose of shooting him dead? Now, who was he? What was he to you?
He was nothing to me.
Then why did you kill him?
I won't tell you.
You must have had a reason. What was it?
I won't tell you.
All right, sister. But you're making it a lot tougher for yourself. You know that, don't you? You know what'll happen to you, don't you?
Yes. Yes, I know what will happen to me.
And why don't you come clean? Come on, give us the dope. We're only trying to help you.
I have nothing to say.
You're waiting for your lawyer, is that it?
I've no lawyer.
But you're going to have one.
No.
No use, Chief. Better send her back till we get a chance to work on this thing.
Wait a minute, Murphy. I'm going to give you one more chance, sister. I won't ask you who the man was. I won't ask you why you shot him. All I want to know is one thing. Who are you? What's your name? Where do you come from? Come on. What's your name? You can tell us that, can't you? What's your name? Who are you? All right, Murphy. Send her back.
Flynn.
Yes, sir.
Take her back to her cell.
This way, sister.
Well, that was a nice waste of time.
I don't see what you're so worried about, Chief. It's an open and shut case. She walked into a hotel room and drilled a guy. She admits it, even.
Yeah, sure she admits it. But how do you know what she'll admit when she gets on the stand? That's what counts, Murphy. What she says in front of 12 good men and true.
You say the same thing. She didn't even want a lawyer.
Well, the court will take care of that for her.
Yeah.
They'll appoint someone to represent her.
Some kid, probably, who can't even find his way to the witness chair. She sure is a sucker for not talking.
In the interest of justice, it is the duty of this court to see that the accused is ably represented by counsel. To that end, and to assure the accused of a just trial in accordance with the laws of this state, the court hereby appoints as counsel for the defendant, Raymond Cartwright.
Hello, Dad.
Well, come in, Raymond.
Well, I've got it.
Got what?
My first big case. Look me over.
Good boy. Well, the first one's always the hardest, you know.
Yeah, don't I know it? Of course, there's not much glory attached to this one. It's one of those assignments.
Oh, well, it's a start, Raymond.
Well, that's the way I look at it.
Criminal case, I suppose.
Yeah, she's charged with murder.
Oh, a woman, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Any evidence?
Well, that's the whole trouble, you know. It's all evidence. She admits everything. She won't talk about it. Won't even give her name.
Oh, yes. I think I read something about it in the papers this morning. What is it the reporters are calling her?
Yeah, trust them to give it a name. They're calling her Madam X.
That's it, yes. Well, they've handed you a nice one for your first case. How are you handling it?
Well, I haven't decided that yet.
Well, you have to get her to talk. Any luck so far?
No, I haven't even seen her. She wasn't in the court when I got the assignment. I'm seeing her at the Tombs at 4 o'clock. I don't know what I can do for her if she won't give me anything to go on. And, well, if she admits everything now, it's sort of hopeless, I guess.
Well, you can't tell. You can admit the murder and still get an acquittal, you know. Temporary insanity. Self-defense. Extenuating circumstances. Oh, it's been done before.
Yeah, I know, but isn't that sort of drawing it a little far?
No, not a bit. You see, justice is a funny thing. There's a district attorney on one side, a counsel for the defense on the other. Your job is to present your client's case in its most favorable light, just as it's the DA's job to convict her if possible. If you can dig up any facts that might conceivably influence a jury to vote not guilty, it's your right and your duty to use those facts. A human life depends on it. Depends on you.
Yes, I know. It's a big responsibility, isn't it?
Yes. Anything I could do to help?
Oh, no, thanks. I'd rather handle this myself. I mean,
of course. Well, go to it, and the best of luck.
Thanks, Dad.
You can make her talk. You're a better man than the whole homicide squad.
How long has she been in here?
10 days. She ought to come to trial pretty soon. No use in delaying on these open and shut cases.
Have you questioned her since you brought her in?
Every day. She won't talk. She won't even eat. She just sits there and stares at you. It's enough to give a man the creeps.
She still won't give her name, huh?
No. She says her name is Williams. Laura Williams. But she admits it's a phony. It's only for the records. Here we are. You've got a visitor, sister. Go ahead, son.
Thanks. I'd like to see her alone, of course.
Sure. I'll be at the end of the corridor. Just yell when you want me.
How do you do?
What do you want with me? If you've been sent here to question me, you're wasting your time. I've nothing to say. I've told them that.
Oh, no, I'm not an officer. I'm your attorney.
I told them I didn't want an attorney.
No, but you have to have someone to plead your case. You see, that's the law. I was appointed by the judge.
Well,
if I'm to represent you, I've got to know something about you. Who you are, where you came from. You'll tell me that, won't you?
My name is Laura Williams.
No, but that's not your real name.
They asked me my name for the records. I told them my name was Laura Williams. That's all I have to say.
But
That's all I have to say.
Well, you're not being very fair. You're not being fair to yourself or to me either.
You?
Yes, You see, this is my first case.
Oh.
That doesn't sound very encouraging, does it? But I think I can help you. That is, if you'll just give me the chance. Now, I did want to make a showing on this. And so if you don't want to do it for yourself, perhaps you'd be willing to help me.
You're very young, aren't you?
Oh, I'm 24.
24? I had a son. He'd be 24 now, too. And he's just...
Then he's alive.
I didn't say that.
I'm sorry. I know it hurts to be reminded when you've lost someone near to you.
Have you ever lost anyone?
Yes, my mother.
How?
Oh, she died some time ago.
Oh.
But we were speaking of your son. Now, he's still alive.
I'd rather not talk about it.
Has he anything to do with the man that was shot?
No. Oh, let me alone. Please, just let me alone.
But I've got to defend you.
I don't want to be defended. I killed that man. I walked into his room at the Hotel Trent and I shot him. Is there anything more to be said? I'm perfectly willing to pay for what I did.
But don't you see, there may be no reason why you should pay. That's all I'm trying to find out, just what the motive was. You see, you might have had a good reason to kill him.
I did.
Well, did he threaten you in any way?
No.
It wasn't self-defense then?
No.
Did he threaten anyone near to you?
No.
Your son, perhaps?
No. Why do you keep bringing up my son?
Well, it's the only thing I know about you. That you have or had a son. I'm just groping in the dark, that's all, trying to help you. You can't blame me for that. It's just my job.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, too, that this had to be your first case. But you mustn't take it too much to heart. Everything's against you. Nobody expects you to win.
Hello, Hotel Trent. What name, please? Just a moment, please. Hello, room service? Hold on a minute. Hello, Hotel Trent. Yes, ma'am. What name, please? Oh, one moment, please.
Excuse me.
What do you want?
The manager said I could speak to you for a minute.
Yeah? Take my calls, will you, Francis? Okay. Well?
My name is Raymond Cartwright. Are you the girl that was on the switchboard the night the man was shot in 518?
Yeah, why?
Now, I want you to think hard. Try to remember. Did he receive any calls that night?
Yeah, he got a call about 8 o'clock.
You're sure?
Sure, it was a man called. I remember because it was just a couple of minutes before the fellow was shot.
You didn't tell the police?
Well, I didn't think it was important, was it?
Oh, that's all right, that's all right. Now, look, when that man called, did he mention his name? Now, come on, think hard. Now, come on.
Yeah. He said his name was, wait a minute now, Harper. Harper, that's what it was, Joe Harper.
You're sure of that?
Yeah, we always ask what name, and I remember because my boyfriend's name is Harper, and I thought...
All right, that's fine, thanks.
Huh.
You keep this quiet, will you?
Oh, sure.
Hello? Yes? Well, what'd you find? Well, now keep looking. Will you try the city directory? Try anything you can think of. Now, we've got to locate this Joe Harper before we go on trial. All right, thanks. Oh.
Any luck, son?
Nothing yet. If I could just get this man Harper, I might learn something. I've got 2 men working on it right now.
What about the woman? Have you asked her?
She doesn't know him. If she does, she's not saying. I can't get her to talk about this case. She's just not interested. They brought her the notice of the trial. She didn't even read it. She doesn't even know my name, and I'm defending.
When do you go to trial?
Thursday morning.
Doesn't leave you much time, does it?
I tried a postponement, couldn't get it. Dad, it's funny. This thing's got me.
Well, that's natural. Your first criminal case?
No, that's not the reason. There's just something about that woman. Something I can't explain.
You think she's innocent?
No, but I have a feeling somehow that what she did, she had a good reason for doing. She was protecting someone. I'm sure of it.
Well, silence seems a pretty good indication of that. I'd use that point in the summing up if I were you.
Oh, I'm going to. I don't know what good it'll do, but it's the only thing I've got to go on so far.
She's never given you anything else?
No, except that first day about her son. She talks to me now, though.
What about?
Oh, about everything except herself. She sort of rambles on as if I weren't there. Every once in a while, I catch a glimpse of something in her life. Something dark and sordid, something that's been gnawing at her for years. And she's been through hell, that woman. It's in her eyes. But then there's something beautiful there, too. There's something I've got to save if I can.
I think you will, son. If you feel like that, I don't think there's anything that can stop you.
I'm going to see her once more, just before the trial. I'm going to ask her if she'll go on the stand.
You think there's a chance?
Well, I don't know. I can only try.
I think I'll be there to watch you, son. I've got a feeling that I'm going to be very proud of you. Whether you win or lose makes no difference. Remember that, my boy.
All right. I'll be ready for us in just a few minutes. We're just waiting for the judge. You feel all right?
I'm all right. I just wish it were over, that's all.
Now, before we go out there, I'm going to ask one favor of you. Now, please don't refuse me.
What is it?
Well, I want you to take the stand. Testify for yourself.
No, I can't do that.
Now, you won't have to tell them anything. I just want that jury to hear you speak.
I'm sorry. I don't like to refuse you, but I can't do that.
I'm sorry, too. I've tried to help you.
Now, don't feel badly about it. There's nothing more you can do for me. I appreciate what you've already done. You've been very kind.
You've never even asked my name.
Names? They don't matter very much. It's what you are that counts. And you've been kind. Thank you. You don't know what it's meant to have someone to talk to, someone who understands things as you do. I'd have gone mad just waiting there.
Tell me, haven't you any friends at all?
Oh, I did have once. I think I had everything that a woman could ask for. But I made one mistake, and I threw it all away. And it's so easy to keep on making mistakes once you've started. There's no turning back then. You just go on, step by step, always a little lower, till at last there's nothing left but memories and bitterness and an ache in your heart for what you might have been. They say time heals everything. I don't believe that. I've never been able to forget and never wanted to. That's why I'm glad it's over now. I'll find peace where I'm going. Peace and rest. And I need them so.
Come in, please.
Almost ready.
All right, thank you.
I'll be right outside here when you want me, Mr. Cartwright.
Cartwright! Is that your name?
Oh, yes, I'm Raymond Cartwright.
Oh, God!
What is it? Well, why do you stare at me like that?
You're going to defend me?
Oh, yes, of course. Now, that's why I want you to go on the stand, just to tell them.
You don't know what you're saying. You don't know what it means.
Well, what's the matter? Here, give me your hand. Now, get hold of yourself, please.
It's all right. I'll be all right. Now.
We pause for station identification. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
KNX, Los Angeles, the voice of Hollywood.
Anne Harding, James Stewart, and Conway Turl return shortly in Madam X. Tonight's play concerns one type of court. Now we hear from a young woman who's made history on another kind. 7 times Wimbledon tennis champion, 7 times United States champion, and 4 times champion of France. An unequaled record. Helen Wills Moody, as one of the greatest of all women athletes. I introduce her tonight with the hope that she'll settle a question in the mind of everyone who follows this sport of king and commoner. Mrs. Moody, have you given up tournament tennis for good, or is there a chance you'll return?
I should like to go on one more tour, which would include Wimbledon and Forest Hills. It's difficult, however, to leave home for such a long time as is required for the summer tournaments. But there's something irresistible about tennis, and I find myself playing regularly at home in San Francisco 4 or 5 times a week.
In a few days, the matches will begin at Wimbledon. That must be rather a hard call for you to resist.
Indeed it is, but after all, it isn't Wimbledon or championships that make tennis such a grand game. It's the finest sport in the world because it's everybody's game, a sport for all ages. When I was in Stockholm, I played with King Gustav of Sweden, who's still on the courts in his late 70s. Here in Hollywood, you'll find many of the stars playing remarkably well, not only for exercise, but because they know tennis develops poise. Among them are stars like Errol Flynn, Clark Gable, Gilbert Rowland, Warner Baxter, Greta Garbo, Ronald Coleman, and Merle Oberon.
I understand that now you're devoting a lot of time to designing clothes and painting. How does an artist's brush feel in a hand accustomed to a tennis racket?
The fields are not so far removed as you may think, Mr. DeMille. The action of a tennis game, the sweep of the strokes, the graceful lines, the rhythm of motion, are qualities that lend themselves very readily to an etching or a pencil sketch. Look at a good painting, and then at a good game of tennis, and you'll find a kindred artistry. As for clothes, my interest in designing was stimulated when I once found myself with a match on my hands, but no outfit. I was in a large city, and yet couldn't find a store that had sensible sport clothes. Most of my designs have been for active sportwear, but I have also done some bathing suits and street dresses. Since I've been doing this designing work, my attention has been called to the problem of keeping up the attractiveness of sportwear, and I know that the answer has been found in the use of Lux Flakes. Sportwear lasts longer, looks better, and stays fresher when cared for with a splendid product responsible for this program.
It's obvious, Mrs. Moody, that you believe in having a variety of interests.
Yes, I believe if you have one main interest and a variety of lesser interests, it makes for greater happiness. In proof of which, I've also tried my hand at writing, and I've just completed a book. I've called it 15 to 30, because it deals not only with tennis, but with the experiences I've had and what I hope I've learned during those years. All my thanks, Mr. DeMille, for asking me to appear in the Lux Radio Theater.
I'm sure you'll be a champion among authors, too. And now, back to the story of Madam X, starring Anne Harding and James Stewart with Conway Turl. The knowledge that her own son is to defend her seals Jacqueline's lips even tighter than before. We're in the courtroom, where the trial is almost ready to begin. In the enclosure near the judge's bench, Alan Cartwright sits at a long table. Beside him is his old friend, Dr. Chesney, who's come to hear Raymond plead his first case.
Has Raymond any kind of a chance at all, Alan?
Well, not on the facts alone, Perry. But he'll make a good showing. He's convinced in some manner that the crime was justifiable. He's got his heart in it. That's always a help.
He's a little young to be swaying juries on sentiment alone.
Well, we'll see.
The court will please rise. The Court of General Sessions is now in order. The Honorable Gerald M. Darrett presiding. Be seated, please.
The case of the people versus Laura Williams.
There she is. She's just come in with Raymond.
He looks worried. I hope he... Good God, Perry.
What is it?
That woman. Look at her. Who is she, Perry?
It does look like... but she can't be, of course.
It's Jacqueline. Jacqueline here in this court. On trial for murder.
Sit down, Alan.
I've got to speak to her.
You can't do that, not now. Besides, you're not even certain that it is Jacqueline.
Not certain. Oh, God. Don't you think I know her face? Haven't I seen it every time I've closed my eyes for the last 20 years?
Oh, that you can't do anything. It's too late, man. It's in Raymond's hand now.
Her son. Her own son. And he doesn't know.
There's nothing to be done now, Alan. Nothing.
Here, sit down right over here and face the bench.
Thank you.
Feel better now?
Yes.
The state ready?
Ready, Your Honor.
Defendant ready?
Ready, Your Honor.
Proceed with the case, please.
The state versus Laura Williams. The defendant is charged with the willful murder of one Tony Phillips. On the night of May 4th, 1937, it is charged that the defendant entered the hotel.
And these, gentlemen of the jury, are the facts that the state will bring forward. By the defendant's own admission, she committed an act of murder. But the law of this state is such that we cannot force her to testify against herself. Therefore, the state will present its witnesses as rapidly as possible. Witnesses who were at the scene of the crime only a few seconds after its commission. The first witness, a woman who had the adjoining room, will swear to the...
It was about 8 o'clock. I was alone in my room, and I heard a shot. I ran out into the hall, and I yelled.
In the hall. I didn't hear the shot, but when I got out there were about 4 or 5 people standing around the door of room 518. They were banging on it. I ran up to the door and tried to find out...
And there she was, standing over him with a gun in her hand. The gun was still smoking. She said, "I killed him. I'm not trying to escape. I killed him." That's all she'd say. And then I went downstairs to find an officer. I came back to the room.
And that, gentlemen, is the case as presented by the state. The counsel for the defense has shown no flaw in any of the testimony he's heard, nor has he offered to produce any witnesses to refute this testimony. Your Honor, gentlemen of the jury, the state rests.
Now, please, we can't let it just go at that. You've got to speak. You've got to tell me.
No, don't say any more. Don't try to defend me. Let them send the jury out now. It can't make any difference, Raymond.
Why do you call me Raymond?
I don't know.
Well, you did it once before, too.
I'm sorry.
No, please. Please, but you say it as if it had some meaning to you.
Do I?
Will counsel for the defense present his case, please?
No, don't say anything.
Please, I've got to. Your Honor, gentlemen of the jury, you have just heard the state's case, and you have heard no denials by the defendant. The defense has no witnesses to present, and I am frank to admit that the defendant, in spite of my counsel, has repeatedly refused to take the stand on her own behalf. Now, this would seem to indicate that she has reason to be afraid, but we must look deeper than that. Now, this woman, gentlemen, whom you see before you, has admitted her guilt openly. She has nothing to lose by testifying. On the contrary, she has only to gain by it. But still she refuses. Now, there must be some reason for this. And from my conversations with her before this trial opened, I am firmly convinced that she is keeping silent for one purpose, and for one purpose only: to protect and shield someone near to her. Someone she loves.
Yes, gentlemen, there is a mystery surrounding this woman that newspapers have called Madam X. Who is she? Where does she come from? Whom is she shielding? Whom is she protecting? Is it a husband, a daughter, a son?
No, don't.
She told me she had a son of my age. And she refused to speak any more of him, but he lives. Now, perhaps he faced some great danger. I don't know what, but she knew, and she killed to protect him from it. Now, you will say that this is supposition. Well, it is, gentlemen. It is supposition. But our law states that where there is a reasonable doubt of guilt, the defendant must be deemed innocent. Well, there is doubt here. Not as to actual fact, but as to motive. And the courts of our state have recognized time after time, case after case, that there is such a thing as justifiable homicide.
Let me through here. Let me through.
Order there.
Your Honor, I'd like to speak to the counsel for defense, please.
Counsel for defense is summing up his case. This is no time.
Your Honor, if the court so pleases, this man is in my employ. Now, if he wants to speak to me now, I assure you it has direct bearing upon the case.
Very well. Go ahead.
All right, what is it?
Joe Harper. I found him.
What, is he here now?
Sure. I served him with subpoenas and I've...
All right. Now, get him up here quick. Your Honor, I ask the court's pardon for this interruption. I also ask the court for permission to introduce a witness for the defense.
I object. The counsel has already begun its summation.
A human life is at stake here. Objection overruled.
Your Honor, I ask the court to call Joseph Harper.
Joseph Harper to the stand. Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole...
Gentlemen of the jury, I have never seen this witness. Now, his testimony may act to the advantage of the defendant. It may act to her disadvantage. But regardless of that, I believe he knows something about this case. What's your name?
Joseph Harper.
Where do you live, please?
618 West 74th Street.
Now, I want you to look at the defendant. Have you ever seen her before?
No.
You don't know who she is?
No.
Now, tell me this. Did you ever know a man by the name of Tony Phillips? Did you?
Yeah.
Did you call him on the telephone at the Hotel Trent on the night of May the 4th?
I guess so.
No, did you or didn't you? Answer the question.
Yes.
And why did you call him?
Well, he asked me to.
When was that?
A week before. He sent me a telegram.
From New York?
No, San Francisco. He wanted me to do him a favor.
What was that favor?
Well, he asked me to get some information for him.
What about?
Do I have to answer that?
What about?
Well, it was about a person that he was trying to...
No, don't answer. Don't answer, do you hear? No, don't let him tell. Take him off the stand. Don't question him anymore. I'll do anything you want. I'll do anything. But please don't let him speak for my sake. Please. True what you said. I was protecting someone. And it was my son. The man I killed was going to blackmail him and my husband because of me. He was going to wreck my son's life and my husband's career because of what I was and what I am now. That's why I couldn't speak. That's why I can never speak. In God's name, please don't ask me to tell. Don't ask me to give up my life for nothing. I'm not afraid to die if I know that he'll be safe. He's my son. My son whom I've never known and who's never known me. You can take my life. It's a worthless thing anyway, but please let him have his.
Well, she's fainted. Here, get a doctor, quick.
How is she, Penny? Has she come around yet?
Not quite. She's in pretty bad shape, Alan. Where's Raymond?
I asked him to wait in the corridor.
Did you tell him about Jacqueline?
Yes. It wasn't easy, Penny.
How did he take it?
He wanted to come in to see her. I made him wait for the jury to come back. He'll get an acquittal. It's almost sure.
I wonder how much good it will do, Alan.
What do you mean?
Oh.
She's coming too.
Jacqueline, do you hear me?
Alan.
Yes, darling.
I saw you in the court. I was so afraid you'd tell.
I wanted to, Jacqueline.
No. It's better. Better this way. Much better.
I know everything you've done has been for me and Raymond. I can't tell you.
Don't cry.
You told me once that I'd never forgive myself for what I did. I never have, Jacqueline. I've tried to find you. Oh, so many times. But I'll make it all up to you. I swear I will. I'll make you happy again, Jacqueline.
I'm happy now. So very happy.
Come here, Raymond.
Raymond, does he know?
Yes, I know, Mother.
Oh, Raymond.
It's all over, Mother. The jury's come in and they've acquitted you. We can go home now.
Home? I only wish I could.
But you can. You're going to.
Give me your hand, Raymond. My son. All these years I've been so proud of you. And all these years you thought of me as a dream mother who died long ago when she was young and pretty. Please, try to go on thinking that. For my sake.
But I've found you, Mother. I can't lose you again so quickly.
That isn't in our hands, Raymond.
I don't know what you mean.
Now, you mustn't be sad. And you mustn't think too much about me. Because I'm not sad. I'm happy, Raymond. Happier than I've ever been in all my life.
Mother? Mother? Dr. Chesney, what is it?
We found her. Too late, my boy.
Anne Harding and James Stewart step from their tragic roles and speak to us as themselves in just a moment. From a different part of the country, we now present another Madam X and her son, whose name also is Raymond. They will tell their own story, this time the actual story of a mother and son lost to each other for 18 years. Today they're reunited, but up until now have refused all requests to tell their amazing story to the world. This evening they consented to come to the Lux Radio Theater and tell it in person. It's my pleasure to introduce to you the young gentleman and his mother, who present their proof of the adage that truth is often stranger than fiction. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Raymond Meir and his mother, who speak to you from New York.
Thank you, Mr. DeMille. For the last 18 years, I have believed my mother dead. Every time I asked my father about her, the only answer I could get was that she had died when I was 3 years old. My father had remarried in the meantime, and 2 years ago, he died. A year and a half ago, I got a job ushering at the Paramount here in New York, where I am now assistant chief usher. 2 months ago, on my day off, I was in the neighborhood and happened to stop in at the theater, and there I was handed a message. It was sent by my stepmother, and all it said was, "Your mother is in town and wants to speak to you." I have read stories like that, and I have seen such things happen in the movies. Madam X is one, I remember. But I never thought it would happen to me. But you had known, hadn't you, Mother, that someday it would happen?
Yes, Raymond. I just knew that you were alive, and even if I couldn't find you, I could hope I might someday.
Do you know why my father would never let you see me?
He had his ideas of how to bring you up, and I had mine. We couldn't agree. We separated, and he traveled a great deal. And once he took you with him, I never saw you again. But, Raymond, you tell the story.
All right.
I'd rather just listen to you.
All right. My mother tried every means to find me for 15 years, but she never could. Finally, 2 months ago, she did discover a clue to where I had been working. She went to that firm in New York, and as it turned out, the woman she interviewed there was my stepmother. Neither knew who the other was. My mother asked for me, and my stepmother, not knowing her, was very cautious at first. They took a liking to each other, and finally, my mother revealed her identity. Then my stepmother did the same. The whole story came out then, and convinced of the truth of it, my stepmother sent that message to me at the Paramount. I went to her office immediately, and she told me to go to a certain address where my mother was staying with friends. I went, and when I walked into the room and saw Mother, I thought I must be looking into a mirror. We looked so much alike.
Raymond, I never even asked you. How did you feel when you first saw me?
I don't really know. I was so stunned that I don't know whether I felt anything, really. I can't even remember what I said. And I'm not sure I know what you said, do you?
No, I just remember. All of a sudden, I couldn't see you. I guess I was crying.
Very soon after my mother and I were reunited, we began checking over places we had been, where we might have met. We discovered that 1 month before she found me, she had been in New York, and some friends insisted that she go to the movies with them. They went to the Paramount, and as my mother still says, it was very dark inside. Maybe you are the young man who took me to my seat. And now, Mother, I think it's time we said goodbye.
From Hollywood, we send our thanks to Mr. Meir and his mother, and the hope that their newfound happiness will be with them always. Before Mr. DeMille brings Ann Harding and James Stewart back to the microphone, may I remind you that the Lux Radio Theater comes to you through the courtesy of the makers of Lux Flakes. The familiar blue box has a friendly place in most of the homes you know. These gentle flakes are made especially to safeguard fine silks and woolens. You'll find them kind to everything that is safe in clear water alone. Again, our producer, Mr. DeMille. Back to our microphone. Come Ann Harding and James Stewart, giving us, among other things, a chance to learn from Miss Harding her impressions of the stage and screen in England.
Well, I'm afraid I'm hardly the right person to ask about English pictures, Mr. DeMille. I did make a picture in England, but an American produced it, an American directed it, and the cameraman was an American.
Well, then, how about the English stage, Miss Harding?
Well, now, it isn't safe to start me on that subject. Playing on the English stage was a marvelous experience.
Isn't it rather strange that George Bernard Shaw's play, Candida, wasn't given a major production in London for 37 years? In fact, not till you went over to star in it.
Well, I could hardly believe it when they told me that. It was pretty exciting to find that it was such a success. What have you been doing, Mr. Stewart? When I left Hollywood a year ago, everyone was talking about that amazing young actor who lived with Henry Fonda, owned 30 cats, and played the accordion.
We know Henry Fonda married, but what happened to the cats and the accordion?
I don't know. Whatever attracted the cats in the first place, I don't know. They just seemed to come around. They haven't caught up with me yet. Every night I play the accordion to sort of discourage them.
Are the neighbors in sympathy?
Well, I just asked them which they'd prefer, an accordion or a troop of 30 yowling cats. I guess it's a case of the lesser of two evils.
What do they say to that?
Well, sir, I hardly ever get a civil answer. But, Mr. DeMille, I meant to ask you about this. In case you need an accordion player for the Buccaneer, you remember Stewart's name.
Thanks, Jimmy. But after all, even the pirate can endure just so much. Goodbye, Jimmy. You're a very remarkable fellow. Thank you, Miss Harding and Mr. Stewart. This is your announcer, ladies and gentlemen, Melville Ruick. Next week's Stars and Play will be told shortly by Mr. DeMille. James Stewart appeared through courtesy of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios, Mr. DeMille, Paramount, and Louis Silver's 20th Century Fox, where he was in charge of music for the new picture, This Is My Affair. Our play was based on John Raphael's adaptation of the original by Alexandra Besson. And here is Mr. DeMille. To the ever-popular Booth Tarkington, we're indebted for the story which comes to us next Monday night. A story whose suspense and delightful romance have ranked it as a classic of its kind ever since Richard Mansfield brought it to the stage many years ago. Its title, Monsieur Beaucaire. I'm especially pleased to announce that filling the title role will be one of the greatest artists of our time, Mr. Leslie Howard. And starring with him, Elissa Landi. Our sponsors, the makers of Lux Flakes, join me in inviting you to be with us again next Monday night when the Lux Radio Theater presents Leslie Howard and Elissa Landi in Monsieur Beaucaire. This is Cecil B. DeMille saying good night to you from Hollywood. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
KMX, the Columbia Station, Los Angeles.
Hollywood, California, Monday, June 21st. The Lux Radio Theater presents Leslie Howard and Elissa Landi in Monsieur Beaucaire. Lux presents Hollywood. This program tonight is your program, since your purchases of Lux toilet soap make the Lux Radio Theater possible. we are happy to bring you Monsieur Beaucaire and its celebrated performers, Leslie Howard, Elissa Landi, Pedro de Cordova, and Dennis Green. Also, our guests, Ray Jones, ace portrait photographer of Universal Studios, and Evelyn Keyes, latest discovery of our producer, Cecil B. DeMille. Our conductor, Louis Silvers. On behalf of our stars, our guests, and sponsors, welcome to the Lux Radio Theater. Before we hear Leslie Howard and Elissa Landi and Monsieur Beaucaire, may I tell you what a famous and beautiful woman has to say about feminine charm? Loretta Young. Men say of her, she has what it takes, all right. Women try to be like her, the biggest compliment of all. Here's what she says. No girl who isn't dainty can hope to be attractive to men. I'll tell you what I've discovered. My own complexion soap, Lux Toilet Soap, is the perfect bath soap. The active lather leaves skin smooth and really fresh, fragrant with a delicate perfume that clings. There couldn't be an easier, more delightful way to protect daintiness. Now, there's a tip we're sure thousands of women are going to follow. You couldn't buy a finer soap than Lux Toilet Soap if you paid $1 a cake. Yet, because so many of you buy it, its price is modest enough for the most careful budget. And now, our producer. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cecil B. DeMille. Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. Our play tonight presents what almost any member of the diplomatic corps might call an international situation, relating the romantic adventures of a Frenchman in England. It stars two gentlemen born in London, a native New Yorker, and a lovely lady who first saw the light of day reflected in the canals of Venice. Monsieur Beaucaire brought recognition to Booth Tarkington after 8 years of literary endeavor had earned him exactly $22.50. Last month, the play figured in the news on the passing of Mrs. Ovid Jameson, sister of the author. Mrs. Jameson it was who took the manuscript of Monsieur Beaucaire to Samuel McClure and persuaded him to publish it. She also convinced Richard Mansfield to star in the play version. Bringing new honors to the title role made famous by Mansfield is Leslie Howard, who, when the World War broke out, left his job as a bank clerk in London to join the British Army. Theatrical entertainments behind the lines gave him the urge to act. He scored with American audiences in a series of play hits on Broadway, climaxed with Berkeley Square, Animal Kingdom, and Petrified Forest. On the screen, he's duplicated his record of success and is currently starring in Warner Brothers' production, It's Love I'm After. Writer, singer, pianist, linguist, Elissa Landi of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios is among our most versatile performers. Born in Italy, of noble blood, she draws upon her background of nobility for her characterization tonight of Lady Mary. Our native New Yorker is Pedro de Cordova, who makes his third appearance on our stage as Major Molyneux, while Dennis Green, the English actor, recently seen with Mr. Howard in Hamlet, plays Lord Winterset. Now in Hollywood, the sun of this first day of summer drops behind the hills of Santa Monica into the cooling waters of the Pacific. And with its fading light, fade the lights of our theater. Curtain time is here, and our stars make their entrance as the Lux Radio Theater presents Leslie Howard and Elissa Landi in Monsieur Beaucaire with Pedro de Cordova and Dennis Green. In the early part of the 18th century. Off the coast of England, a full-rigged brigantine bound for Dover makes slow progress through the heavy seas. On the spray-lashed quarterdeck, Captain Badger, in command of the ship, raps out his orders.
That'll be all. Keep it at a close sail until the blow lets up.
Aye, aye, sir.
I'm going below. Tell the watch to keep me informed.
Aye, aye, sir.
Well, monsieur. Devil take you. What do you mean by vaulting round corners like that? You near threw me off my feet.
1,000 pardons, monsieur.
Who are you, and what are you doing on this deck?
I was merely taking a breath of air, but I find it rather damp.
Come over here in the light. I've never seen you on deck before.
No, monsieur. I've been keeping rather close to my cabin.
You're a lackey, aren't you?
A servant would be more correct, monsieur.
Well, get below where you belong. Oh, he's your master. He shall hear of your impudence at once.
Monsieur, there's some misunderstanding.
There certainly is. This impudence scoundrel near knocked me off my feet. Is he your lackey?
Why, he is my hairdresser.
Hairdresser? Then you should know better than to let him come on this deck. Your name, sir?
Monsieur, you do not know...
Your name, sir?
Most unfortunate, monsieur, as I do not want my presence aboard to be known. But since you make it imperative, I am the Marquis de Mirepoix.
The Marquis de Mirepoix? Ambassador from France?
I trust you will let this remain a secret between us, as I am on a special mission to England. Captain,
Badger, sir. Captain Badger, and, I humbly beg your pardon, Excellency. I had no idea that you were on board. If I had...
That is more than enough, Captain Badger.
Yes, Your Excellency. Good evening to you, sir.
You have made quite an impression on the captain, Monsieur le Marquis.
Your Highness, please.
Not here. I'm your hairdresser, not your Highness. Don't forget that. You'd better go back to the cabin. I tell you, Your Highness, by the time our Captain Badger lands, it will be known all through England that I am traveling incognito. But is that so terrible? But they know that I am your friend. No. They know you are a friend of the Duke d'Orléans. But I am not the Duke d'Orléans here. He is securely locked in his cell in Vincennes. Let him stay there, my friend. No one in England will know of my escape. Francois.
Your Highness.
Some wine, please.
Yes, Your Highness.
However, my dear Marquis, I cannot travel further with you. We must part at the end of this crossing. I must travel my way alone.
But you cannot do that. I will not hear it.
But you are hearing of it. I shall not be known as your hairdresser, of course. I shall become a man in my own right. A Frenchman seeking, what? A cure in the waters at Bath. That will do. They say that Bath is a gay place at this season.
Oh, Your Highness. Will you ever become sane again?
Never. I shall change my name, of course. I shall be known as Monsieur Beaucaire. Mark the name, friend. Beaucaire. You may hear of it in your travels in England.
Your Highness, please give up this mad scheme and return to France.
To be shut up in prison again? No. The Duke d'Orléans is dead. Long live Monsieur Beaucaire.
That the Duke of Orleans has been imprisoned by the King's order. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye.
So, did you hear that, Francois? I'm still in prison in Vincennes.
Yes, monsieur. It is very interesting.
Oh, very.
Shall we continue our walk, monsieur?
Yes. I'm delighted with Bath, Francois. I find here a certain... Francois.
Monsieur.
That lady who is just getting into the carriage. Who is she, do you know?
If I'm not mistaken, monsieur, she is Lady Mary Carlisle. And if the boy who polishes your boots at the lodging house is not mistaken, she is followed here in Bath by a crowd of suitors.
Oh, she's beautiful. Beautiful. Look, she dropped something. Wait here, Francois.
Yes, monsieur.
You may drive on, Thomas. Be careful.
Very good, my lady. Mademoiselle, wait, please.
One moment, Thomas.
Mademoiselle.
What is it, please?
You dropped something, mademoiselle.
I did?
Yeah, a rose. It fell from your bouquet.
Oh, thank you, monsieur.
It's nothing, mademoiselle. I'd willingly pick them up one by one if you would drop them that way.
You're very kind. Drive on, Thomas.
No, wait. You wouldn't consider it, I suppose.
Consider what?
Dropping them one by one.
Hardly. The bon ashes, Thomas.
Yes, my lady. Bon ashes.
Monsieur.
Huh? Oh, yes, Francois.
I neglected to tell you, the Duke of Winterset is Lady Mary's most favored admirer. He is very influential in Bath, and not a man to have as an antagonist.
Francois, you are not only a splendid valet, you are a diplomat as well. Tell me, Francois, what is
What is Beaucaire?
Oh, very fashionable, Your Highness. One goes there to drink the healing waters and to meet one's friends. They're said to be gambling also, if one is interested.
Oh, I am very interested. But in more than the gambling.
About the Duc d'Orléans. Why was he imprisoned? You must have heard some news when you were in Versailles, Captain Berger.
I don't know more anything about it than you do, Miss Lucy. The story has it that King Louis of France arranged a marriage between his cousin, the Duc d'Orléans, and the Princess Henrietta.
Well, we know all that, but what happened, Captain Badger?
Well, Miss Charlotte, the princess, it seems, was willing enough, but the young Duke refused the match.
Oh, but why?
Oh, there was some nonsense about not marrying unless there was true love on both sides.
Oh, how romantic. And the king cast him into prison for that?
That's what they say. Of course, the Duke is, stupid, to say the least.
Miss Lucy.
Ah, here is Major Molyneux. Perhaps he'll know something about the Duke.
Miss Lucy, I've been looking for you.
We want some information about the Duc d'Orléans. Tell us what he's like, Major Molyneux.
I've never seen him, but they say he's the best actor in Versailles. He speaks English well, loves cards and the dice, and fortune favors him in both. He's the finest swordsman in France, is gay, debonair, and that's all I know.
Ah, but what does he look like?
Why not ask a Frenchman?
I will. There's a Frenchman stopping here at Bath, Monsieur Beaucaire. We'll find out from him. He's sure to know.
Monsieur Beaucaire?
Yes, who is this Monsieur Beaucaire? I've heard nothing but Monsieur Beaucaire ever since I've come from France. He seems to have completely captivated the ladies.
He's been coming here to Beaucaire every evening for a week. I do believe he's looking for someone. And he's asked about my cousin twice.
What's that, Miss Lucy? You mean he's asked after Lady Mary?
Yes, it is strange. She assures me that she doesn't know him.
The Duke of Winterset said she'll hear of this. He's jealous of her even now. And if this Frenchman is trying to...
Yeah, he is now, Captain. Good evening, Monsieur Beaucaire.
Ah, Miss Lucy, Miss Charlotte.
May I present these gentlemen, Major Molyneux?
Your servant, sir.
Your servant?
And Captain Berger, Monsieur Beaucaire.
Monsieur, haven't we met before?
I don't believe so, Captain Berger. I'm sure I would have remembered it.
But there's something about you that... perhaps I'm mistaken.
Yes, perhaps.
Monsieur Beaucaire, have you ever seen the Duc d'Orléans?
What is it you say?
Have you ever seen the Duc d'Orléans?
I beg you to forgive me, but that gentleman, the Duc d'Orléans, he has made a great deal of trouble for me in my life.
Is it possible? You mean he's your enemy?
My very worst enemy. I ask you to forgive me, but I'd rather not speak of him.
Just tell us that he's very handsome, monsieur.
I've heard he behaves very badly. I can tell you nothing, mademoiselle. If you will excuse me, please. I was about to take a stroll in the garden.
Of course, monsieur. Really, I'm all equipment.
Monsieur Beaucaire. Monsieur Beaucaire.
Yes, Major Molyneux.
Forgive me for following you out here, but I must speak to you at once.
If I can serve you?
You can, monsieur. You are a Frenchman.
Well?
You may know, monsieur, that I serve the English king, and that I've recently come from the court of France. I take you to be a man of honor, and I'm trusting you. To be frank, we have private information that the Duc d'Orléans has escaped from prison in Versailles.
No, the miserable wretch. Why did he run away? I've heard the food is excellent in that prison.
The French ambassador happened to be a good friend of the Duke, and the young man persuaded him to take him to England in his suite. I believe as a hairdresser.
Oh, the Duc d'Orléans, a hairdresser? Not really. How many people know this?
In France, the king, the governor of Vincennes, and the English ambassador. In England, Monsieur de Mirepoix, you and I.
And you want to arrest the poor little Duke for the King of France?
No, monsieur. He has left Monsieur de Mirepoix, and it is my business to find him and protect him. If any harm befell him here, it might bring about serious consequences between England and France. You can see that.
Oh, he is important, this young man.
I appeal to you in despair, monsieur. If you know of him, if you can give me an idea of him, I beg that you will.
Yes. Yes, I think it is time for another glass of the waters, monsieur.
Then you're determined not to help me.
I do not meddle in important secret matters.
Your caution is commendable. There's nothing more dangerous than to possess a secret.
Ah, yes, monsieur, there is. There is one thing more dangerous. A woman.
True. They go together.
No. They do not. You cannot have them both at the same time.
Some women...
Monsieur, there's but one woman in all the world... There she is over there by the fountain, the lady with the roses.
You mean Lady Mary?
The Lady Mary, yes. You will present me, monsieur.
What?
I shall consider it a great favor.
I shall ask her permission to present you.
But why should she refuse?
Because she is a great lady, monsieur. And if you'll forgive me...
I am not a great gentleman. Very well, monsieur. I shall have to present myself. Adieu. Lady Mary.
I'm afraid we've not met, monsieur.
But we have. Have you forgotten the rose?
Rose?
I've come to ask a favor of you tonight. Once I returned your rose to you. Now I beg that you will give me one. One that has not just fallen from your hand unnoticed.
I'm sorry, monsieur, but...
Mademoiselle, may I tell you something? Something just as it is in my heart.
Is there room for anything there with all the pictures it must carry?
Pictures?
Of all the ladies of the French court. We've never been introduced, Monsieur Beaucaire. But I have heard something of you.
There was in my heart till this night the picture of one woman. I've carried it with me for years. Now it is no longer a picture, but a reality. You.
Monsieur.
You laugh at my prayers, mademoiselle. But better the laughter of a goddess than the smile of a mere woman.
Possibly you prefer the laughter of a goddess to
what, mademoiselle?
To a mere rose from the hand of a woman.
I'm your captive, Lady Mary.
If I give it to you, it will mean nothing.
To you, nothing. To me... Well, give it to me and tell the King of England to send all his great army to get it back again.
And what then?
Then I'll run away. But the King's army, it will not get the flower.
Monsieur Beaucaire, if I give you a rose...
You shall take for an answering gift all a man's soul.
Monsieur, I'm afraid I must imitate you. You shall represent the armies of the English king, and I shall run away.
Mademoiselle.
Lady Mary?
Good evening, Winterset.
I've been looking for you.
This is Monsieur Beaucaire. Monsieur, the Duke of Winterset.
Your servant, monsieur.
I was not aware that you were acquainted with Lady Mary.
I took the liberty of making myself known to her.
It was a liberty.
Oh?
Please. Monsieur Beaucaire was once kind enough to pick up a rose I had dropped.
That is hardly sufficient reason for his forcing himself upon you. Or is the standard of good manners slightly lower at the French court?
Our manners at the French court, monsieur, are governed by one simple rule. Be always courteous, for you never know whom you might be insulting.
Perhaps I know more than you think.
You know what, monsieur?
Captain Badger. Badger. You'll know very soon, Monsieur Beaucaire.
Did you call me, my lord?
Badger, you told me you recognized this man.
I did, my lord. I couldn't place him at first, but I'm quite sure now.
What's going on?
I've taken it upon myself to inform the rest of the company.
What's the matter here? One moment, Major Molyneux.
Perhaps you'll tell me what this is all about, Winterset.
I will. As you know, my lady, these rooms are for ladies and gentlemen only. I desire you to look carefully at this person who calls himself Monsieur Beaucaire.
This is a strange request.
There is an explanation. I have come to expel this fellow from the rooms publicly.
May I ask the stupid question? Why, monsieur?
You come here and thrust yourself among people of fashion and birth, do you? And what were you born that you do this? Were you born a gentleman?
No, monsieur. I was born a baby. In all my life, I have never seen one baby who was a gentleman.
Have your jokes while you may, monsieur, for hereafter this place will be locked to you. Ladies and gentlemen, this man sailed from France with Captain Badger. He's nothing but a hairdresser for the Marquis de Mirepoix.
A hairdresser? You, monsieur, you?
I'm a hairdresser, Monsieur Major Molyneux.
This is true, monsieur.
Quite true, mademoiselle. Do you stand against me, too?
There is little else I can do. Excuse me, please.
Of course.
Now, get out. And if you ever show your face here again, you'll be thrown into jail and lashed by a fellow groom.
Why not make the degradation perfect and say lashed by you, my dear Duke?
You will leave Bath before night, you hear?
No, I shall not leave Bath. But if one must be a gentleman to gamble in these rooms, then I shall bow to your higher birth. But all gentlemen are welcome to my apartment, where I will be pleased to engage them with the dice or the cards. And always fair, monsieur, night or day for any stake. For a shilling, £1,000, or 10,000. With the cards or the dice. Or if the Duke of Winterset prefers, with this small sword. Good evening, gentlemen.
Now we're going to take you for just a moment over to Universal Studios, where a party of visitors is being shown around. They've walked down real streets lined with stores and tenements, with chateaus and brownstone houses. They've gasped at a big moored ferry boat that turns out, when you walk a little farther, to be only half a ferry boat standing on dry land. Water and wave effects to be artificially produced when the need arises. Now our visitors are in one of the huge studio buildings. The official guide is speaking.
And this is the Star's dressing room. At present, being used by Diana Durbin.
Oh, it's thrilling to actually see this room. Look at the dressing table. Lights all around it. What a test for complexion. Well, James, everybody knows that movie stars have to be especially careful of their complexion. And here's the Lux toilet soap she uses. Big as life.
Movie stars have learned through long experience that Lux toilet soap is an ideal protection against the choked pores that cause cosmetic skin. If you're bothered by tiny blemishes, dullness, enlarged pores, better begin today to follow this simple rule. Before you put on fresh makeup, always before you go to bed, use Lux toilet soap. When you begin to use this soap, you'll say to yourself, I understand now why 9 out of 10 screen stars use it. Back now to Mr. DeMille.
We continue the story of Monsieur Beaucaire, starring Leslie Howard and Elissa Landi. 2 weeks have passed since Beaucaire was exposed as a hairdresser before the Society of Bath. But still, he's not given up hope of winning Lady Mary's attentions. He's remained at the watering place, where he's opened a gaming house. It's morning, and in the reception room, we find Beaucaire with Major Molyneux, who has just entered.
Your Highness.
Ah, my friend, my very good friend.
I come to serve you if I must, but first to remonstrate.
Remonstrate?
To beg that you declare yourself as the Duc d'Orléans.
My friend, there is no use. You alone have found me out. But still, I make my little plan.
Oh, your plans will break your heart if someone doesn't kill you before that. You're throwing your heart away upon a coronet, a book of heraldry. I tell you, Lady Mary is a stone. Stone to any but a duke.
Well, I'm going to be a duke, eh? Perhaps even tonight.
What?
Listen, my friend. You say I throw my heart away upon a stone. You say she is a coronet and a book of heraldry. But I say she is a woman, and a woman with a heart. Someday you will know I speak the truth. I will prove it to you and to myself.
If you would only tell her who you really are.
No. I've told you that I still make my little plans. Tonight, some of the high-born gentlemen of the town come to try their luck with the cards. Among them, Milord Winterset.
Winterset? Coming here?
Well, he's been coming for a week. As much as he despises me, he loves the money I have permitted him to win. Tonight he comes again. To cheat, as usual.
Cheat?
He always cheats. But this time I plan to catch him at it. You'll be very angry, my friend, but so will I. There will be words. Perhaps even a fight.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes, a fight.
Oh, Your Highness, you mustn't.
My friend, listen. In all my years, they have never allowed me to have a fight. Think of that. Not one little fight. Of course, I don't wish to hurt anybody, and I haven't any bad feeling, but I don't think all the money I paid out for fencing lessons should be thrown away. Look, my friend, is it so terrible of me to want just one little fight?
But, Your Highness, what has this to do with your plan? You said...
Yes, we shall come to that. The Duke of Winterset and I shall play in the private room upstairs, alone, of course. You will wait in the anteroom until you hear me cough. Like this. Then you will send Francois to interrupt the game.
But why, Your Highness?
You will see, my friend. Tonight you help me to catch Milord the Duke cheating at cards. Well, you win again, Milord Winterset. Almost £500.
Shuffle the cards. You talk as though £500 were a fortune. It's hardly worth the trouble of sneaking to this dirty thieves' den.
Then why do you come, Milord?
Why do any of us come here? Certainly not for the joy of being in your company, Beaucaire.
Oh, no, not for that. You would like to be rid of my company, but you would also like to win my money. You have won much, monsieur. But tonight, I think we play for something else.
What are you talking about?
For a little red rose, monsieur.
What?
Will monsieur be seated? Come in. Well, Francois.
Monsieur, there's a gentleman here to see you.
Ah, yes. If Milord will excuse me, I will see him in the entrance. I'll return in a few minutes.
Well, don't be long. I'm going to Lady Rellison's party later, and I haven't any time to wait.
I know, monsieur. Major Molyneux.
Yeah, Your Highness.
I've given the Duke time enough to set the cards. Go out on the balcony and enter the card room through the window. Stay behind the curtains there. I want a witness. He has worn wide sleeves so he may keep a card or so in readiness. Well, we shall see.
This is foolish, Your Highness.
Will you please to stop saying that? Go along now. I'll return to the room. Well, is Monsieur the Duke ready?
Quite ready. And I think, since you were talking of stakes a while ago, that we should raise the stakes tonight.
Raise the stakes? You want to ruin me?
I say 3 cuts of the cards and triple the stakes. Are you afraid?
I think I'm always afraid, monsieur. I'm afraid of the dark, but that is what makes it fun. Life would be dull if one were not a coward.
Then what do you say if we triple the stakes again?
What? Triple what we have already tripled?
You said that was the fun of life. You go back on your word?
No, monsieur.
Then draw a card.
Of course. Very bad.
Well, what is it?
The 10. Your draw, monsieur. What did I do with my snuff box?
The ace. The ace, by gad, I drew the ace.
That's fortunate, monsieur, except that you drew it from your sleeve instead of the deck.
What?
May I see the other cards you have concealed there?
What are you talking? Take your hands off me.
Here they are. Thank you, monsieur.
Why, you dirty...
Only the king and the other ace. I fear you lack ambition, monsieur. I'm very disappointed in you. Everyone will be.
Why, do you dream that anyone in Bath would take your word against mine?
Major.
Your word is not important now, Your Grace. Major Molyneux. Well, Beaucaire, what's your price?
This is my price, monsieur. You are going to take me to the Lady Rellison's tonight. You're going to present me there and introduce me to the Lady Mary.
Why, you impudent...
Nobody will question Monsieur's guest, so we will go together. And to other balls later.
I won't do it.
Monsieur, you must do it.
They won't accept you there. You forget that the Lady Mary knows who you are. A hairdresser. A barber.
The barber's throat shall be cut with his own razor. I must choose some new disguise and rank, so no one shall know me. Shall I be a marquis with goatee? Vicomte with whiskers at the side? No. Out of deference to monsieur, I, too, will be a duke. Say, the Duke de Chateaubriand. I shall assassinate my mustache, and with my hair done à la mode, even you will not know me, milord.
And do you fancy...
I fancy, monsieur, that I shall meet my dream. Well, what is your answer?
Well, there's nothing for me to do but accept your terms.
That is too good of you.
Major, have I your word that this will be carried no farther? You have my word. Very well. You shall go to the ball with me tonight. But let me warn you, I shall not be saddled with you any longer.
All I require... Mille pardons. All I beg of monsieur is one night's introduction. After that, I shall not need monsieur.
But you may need a steady hand and sword, barber.
My friend. Perhaps I shall have my fight after all. My one little fight. Major, do you think I look like a duke?
It's a miracle, Your Highness. You're as different as night from day.
Not like Monsieur Beaucaire?
No more than I am.
Good. The barber has shaved himself, Major. My poor mustachio is gone for good, I fear. What a man will not do for love.
I've often wondered at it, Monsieur. Has His Grace introduced you to the Lady Mary?
No, not yet. He delays as long as possible, I think. But she's here. I've seen her.
He has little taste for the job, I warrant.
I'm impatient for the delay, and yet thankful, too. Think, my friend, what if she should recognize me?
Have no fear of that. I'd hardly know you myself. Those clothes, your hair, there's a whole new bearing about you. I don't wonder they call you the best actor in Paris, monsieur.
Oh, my friend, you give me strength. Aha! The Duke of Winterset.
Well, barber?
I've been waiting, monsieur. I've just been reassured by the major. And I'm prepared now to meet the lady.
She isn't here.
Your eyes grow weak, monsieur. She sits over there by the door.
I promised you an introduction, no more.
I cannot well be satisfied with less. Shall we go? Your pardon, monsieur.
Certainly, monsieur.
Well, come along, barber. My only hope is that you'll know you for what you are.
That is my risk, monsieur.
Lady Mary.
Yes, Winterset?
May I have leave, milady, to present a friend of mine?
A very old friend, milady. Oh, I should never have asked to be presented.
Yes?
He has recently come from France, and he is the Duke de Chateaubriand.
I'm
am honored, monsieur.
Thank you, milady. The honor is mine.
May I escort you to the balcony, Lady Mary?
Monsieur, have you forgotten? You were on your way to see Lady Relaton.
What?
Distinctly, I heard you say so, monsieur. Very distinctly.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, excuse me, milady. I shall return in just a few minutes.
Well, may I escort you to the balcony, Lady Mary?
Thank you, monsieur. The Duc de Chateaubriand?
Yes, milady, yes. You have heard of me, perhaps?
I'm sorry, monsieur, but I have not.
But you will, milady. You will.
There he is. That is Monsieur Duc de Chateaubriand. We met at Lady Relaton. Isn't he fascinating? I wonder who he is.
Yes, I have.
Chateaubriand. And they say Lady Mary is completely captivated by him.
But they met only a week ago at Lady Relaton.
Yes, I know. That's what I call them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Still
But the Duke of Winterset was the one who presented him last week.
And now he's burning with jealousy. It's too amusing.
There he goes, out into the garden with her. See him, Badger?
Aye, and a favor, my Lord Winterset.
I don't like that Frenchman. Like him.
Your Grace.
Blackie, another glass here.
Yes, Your Grace. Is that the way you feel toward him?
I hate him.
Then why did you introduce him at Lady Relaton?
Why? No fault of mine. The knave did me a scurvy turn once. But I've done paying for it. I've done, I say.
Your Grace, people are looking.
Let them look.
Where are you going?
Into the garden.
Your Grace, come back. Come back, Your Grace.
Shall we sit here, Lady Mary?
You asked if I would like to walk in the garden, monsieur.
And you said yes. Well, we have walked. Now I make another request. May we stop walking, please?
If you wish.
Lady Mary, this whole week have I known you, and only once have I seen you alone.
Has there been any reason to see me alone?
The very best of reasons. The first time to tell you that you are the most charming, the most gracious, the most beautiful of all ladies.
And now?
And now to repeat it all over again.
Not with the very same words, monsieur.
With the same words, yes. Well, that is stupid, is it not? But men cannot all be poets, nor all poets suitors. And even if I were the best of bards, my tongue would still slip and my rhymes sound out of key when I try to speak of you, milady.
Your tongue does not slip, monsieur. It hints rather that you're adept at making pretty speeches.
That only proves the inspiration.
We English women have come to believe that too great smoothness of speech indicates the artist rather than your true...
Your true lover? Mademoiselle, your name in France, we say it Marie. The English way, I think, is so much sweeter. They say Mary.
Monsieur?
Yes, the English way is so much better. Mary.
Monsieur, you say my name...
As if it were a prayer. It is a prayer to me. A prayer that I may call you by that name often.
I think we should go in. We're forgetting the guests.
Must we go in?
It would be better.
Do you doubt me, milady? Do you doubt my love for you? Is that why you turn from me? That which is so near heaven must ever wear the snow. It is so high. But I'd rather the snow were not so cold toward me. Look at me, Mary.
No, please.
Why, Mary?
I'm afraid that you would see that toward you all the chill has gone from the snow. Long, long ago.
Oh, Mary, my beautiful.
What was that?
I heard nothing.
There's a man there. A man hidden in the shrubbery.
Over here, a Frenchman making love.
The Duke of Winterset.
A neat lesson, Frenchman. You are adept at fancy speeches.
Winterset, please.
It is nothing, mademoiselle. His lordship has lingered too long over the bottle. It has given him false courage.
Draw your sword.
I wear no sword here.
Then a worse luck for you.
No.
The wine has unsteadied your hand, my lord.
Are you hurt, monsieur?
It's just a scratch on the shoulder.
Oh.
Stand away and let me run him through.
You can't murder the Duke in cold blood.
The Duke.
My Lord Winterset, what has happened?
The Duke of Winterset has wounded an unarmed man.
Lady Mary, I would tell you, this so-called Duke is a... Silence! You saw it, gentlemen. If he dies under your whip, you saw the villain struck me. Do your duty and be quick. Come with me.
One moment, please. Lady Mary, 1,000 pardons to be the cause of such a melee in your presence.
You are hurt, monsieur.
Lady Mary.
You coward.
I will but avenge you, ma'am.
Avenge me?
Who is this man?
The
Tout de Chateaurien.
Look at him. That's all I ask. Look closely. And remember the day he was expelled from Beau Nash's.
Yes, look, mademoiselle. Look at me and remember Monsieur Beaucaire. I was about to tell you, mademoiselle.
Wait.
You believe me?
It seems you waited too long.
Let me through. Let me through here.
Major Molyneux, my friend, your arm, please.
What has happened?
The Duke of Winterset has pricked my shoulder. It is nothing. He lingered in the shrubbery until...
Enough of this. Take him away. You fool.
My friend, this is for me. 1 week from tonight, I shall meet these gentlemen in the assembly rooms. You shall be my second.
Monsieur, you're hurt. Take him away.
I shall leave myself. But I promise you, Lord Winterset, that when we meet 1 week from tonight, you will again be found in the shrubbery.
We pause for station identification. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System. We continue shortly with Monsieur Beaucaire. A few weeks ago, a member of my staff brought a young girl to my office who had recently come to Hollywood from her home in Georgia. Her name is Evelyn Keyes. Like thousands before her, she came without knowing anyone in the films, without any experience as an actress, but I thought I saw in her the essentials of a sensational new star. Though she's never faced a picture camera, she'll have an important part in my next film, The Buccaneer. And she's the first actress in more than 10 years whom I've placed under personal contract. In 25 years, I've made 3 mistakes in choosing star material. She may be my fourth. I can't predict. I can only guide her. Her success from now on rests with her and with picture audiences. For the present, let's hear from Miss Keyes.
I'm just beginning to realize the tremendous opportunity you're giving me, Mr. DeMille. And the more I realize it, the more frightened I become.
Frightened of me?
You and everyone else in Hollywood. Your name has been magic to me since I was 6 years old. I know that I have a great deal to learn. It's so much, in fact, that I can't understand what made you give me a chance. Maybe you'll tell me now.
Well, some of the reasons may amuse you. You impressed me because your voice wasn't squeaky, you dressed simply, acted like a lady, and because I saw in your face a good screen on which to watch the emotions of life pass by.
When you gave me that lesson in diction the time I was introduced to you, I thought at first you were just making fun of me.
Why? Because I asked you to recite Peter Piper the Pepper Picker?
Yes, I guess so.
Well, that little piece of literature, Evelyn, is one of the finest tests of diction I know.
I can see that now, and I've learned it by heart. Would you like to hear me?
I would if you do it well.
Peter Piper the Pepper Picker picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers that Peter Piper the Pepper Picker picked. If Peter Piper the Pepper Picker picked a peck of pickled peppers, where is the peck of pickled peppers that Peter Piper the Pepper Picker picked?
Not bad, Evelyn, not bad. As a beginner, I think the audience would be interested in your daily routine.
Well, I live at the Studio Club. That's a residence club for about 100 girls like me who are connected with pictures but don't make much money. A lot of the famous stars helped organize it, and Mrs. DeMille is one of the directors. It's near Paramount, so I can walk to work. Stars like Zazie Pitts and Maureen O'Sullivan used to live there, too. I go to the gymnasium every day, and every other day I study with Oliver Hinsdale at Paramount, learning acting and diction. Mr. Hinsdale is teaching me a wide variety of characterizations. These are excerpts from different plays. Then I act them out for him with 1 or 2 other actors who are also beginners. I still have a Georgia drawl that I'm trying to overcome. Right now, Mr. Hinsdale is teaching me proper vowel sounds. It may sound a little silly, but I have to repeat such lines for him as, "How now, brown cow?" and "Mumbo jumbo, god of the Congo." I'm also learning to recite the Raven.
What in Hollywood has impressed you most? The huge studios, the handsome actors, the climate, or what?
I'm afraid what's impressed me most of all are the little houses sitting up all over the hills that surround Hollywood. I haven't met any big stars. I've never been to the Trocadero, and I haven't any boyfriends yet. Of course, the biggest thrill I had was getting that contract from you. Next to that, though, is my being here in the Lux Radio Theater on a program that I used to listen to back home when Hollywood was just a dream. But I didn't have to be told how good Lux Toilet Soap is. I've used it ever since I was a little girl. I was delighted to find that it's the official soap at Paramount Studios, too, and to hear that it's preferred by practically every star in pictures.
I knew that someday I'd get to Hollywood, and I knew that complexion would mean a lot. So I've given mine the best care in the world, and that's Lux toilet soap.
Lux complexions do help, Evelyn. But what would you have done if you'd had to keep going from one casting office to another, and never the sign of a job?
Well, that was something I just refused to think about, Mr. DeMille. My greatest hope is that I'll justify the confidence you've placed in me, and I've never meant it more than in saying thank you to you now.
Good night, Stewart. Back to Leslie Howard and Elissa Landi and Monsieur Beaucaire. It's the night of the promised meeting between Monsieur Beaucaire and the Duke of Winterset. Beaucaire, fully recovered from his wound, is in his room, dressing for the occasion. Francois assists him.
Our very best waistcoat, Francois. We must make a good impression at the assembly rooms tonight.
Yes, Your Highness. I have had it widened at the shoulder. It will be more comfortable over the bandage.
Splendid. My arm must be free tonight, Francois. Free for the sword, or to hold me lady.
You are really going to see it through, Your Highness?
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
They say the Duke of Winterset is the finest swordsman in the Three Kingdoms.
Perhaps, but not in the four. No, you can't dissuade me, Francois. Tonight I have my little fight. The first fight of my life.
Praise God, it may not be your last.
Not a sign of him here. Past 9 o'clock, and Monsieur the Barber doesn't dare to show his face.
I've heard that the Marquis de Mirepoix has just arrived in Bath. No doubt Monsieur Beaucaire has resumed his former position to His Excellency and can't get the evening off.
Lady Mary has just come in. Your pardon, gentlemen. Lady Mary.
My dear Duke.
May I have the honor of accompanying you to the assembly room?
Please, not yet. There's so many people in there.
Are you faint, ma'am?
I'm tired, Winterset. Tired of being stared at. Ever since that night, I see them looking at me, watching, laughing.
There is one way of stopping their idle tongues, ma'am.
And that is?
Allow me to announce that you will shortly become the Duchess of Winterset. It will save appearances.
Appearances. We waste our souls for appearances. We sell our realities for them. We paint pictures of ourselves, smiling always, and use our heart's blood for the pigments.
Ma'am?
I'm sorry. I am tired.
It may be unbecoming to remind you, but you owe me at least some slight consideration.
For saving me from the impostor? Yes. I owe you all that gratitude can give. And I won't shrink from payment of my debt.
Then I may announce it?
If you wish it.
Mary.
Your pardon, ma'am?
Yes, Major Molyneux. Yes, Major Molyneux.
Your cousin, Miss Lucy, asks if she may see you in the West Room at once, please.
My cousin Lucy. Is there something wrong?
Oh, I think not, ma'am. But she wishes to see you alone.
Thank you, Major. Excuse me, sir. Lucy, where are you?
May I lock the door, Lady Mary?
You?
I'd rather no one interrupted us for a while.
Major Molyneux said my cousin was here.
Yes, a shameful ruse, Lady Mary. But I'm the one responsible for it. I had to see you alone. I had to speak to you.
I'm not interested in what you have to say, monsieur. We heard it all a week ago.
I said nothing then, mademoiselle. I had not the strength.
No shoulder?
Yes, I'd been stung by a wasp. It was nothing, but the sky went round and the moon danced on the earth. I didn't wish the wasp to see that he had stung me, so I said only what I had the strength to say.
So you're not an impostor?
Mademoiselle, I am. But is that the end of everything? Have you no faith in romance?
You talk of romance now?
Mademoiselle, if you had known that I was just an impostor, if I had told you that just Monsieur Beaucaire, with the heart of a lackey, was asking for one rose, would you have let me walk by your side there in the moonlight? Mademoiselle, if you had known that this Beaucaire was honest, though of peasant birth, would you...
This is intolerable.
But live men are just names.
You put me on the defensive when it's really you who should be.
Aye, mademoiselle.
Names, what are they to me? I've lived for them all my life.
Names, they are shadows. They are not real.
Do you need to tell me that? This week has taught me that names are only toys. Do you suppose I cared for you because you were rich or noble?
Mademoiselle.
No. Hear me now. I was proud of it. Proud because I thought you an honorable gentleman. And it was to that gentleman that I gave my heart. Not to the Duc de Chateaubriand.
There in the moonlight, we were so close.
Please don't speak of it now.
Mademoiselle, one day you dropped a rose. I gave that rose back to you. I am that man to whom you gave your heart. I'm not just names and shadows. I gave you back your rose. Now, are you going to ask me that I give you back your heart? Look at me, Mary. Will you come back to France with me and prove that I am not a mere name, but a man? The man you love?
All my life, I've smothered every feeling heaven ever sent me. And at last there comes one emotion that will not be smothered and kept down. I thought I could go on hating you. I might have if you hadn't come to see me here, when they're hunting you now through the park and everywhere. But I have seen you again. I've seen your soul. I don't care what you've done. I love you.
You love an impostor. Tell me, Mary, say it.
You're not an impostor. I love you.
Then I can tell my secret. I am an impostor.
No.
But...
No, you're not. You're you. My love.
Oh, curse all intruders.
Let me in. Let me in.
It's Major Molyneux.
Commissioner, close the door.
What is it, my friend?
Lock it quickly. They know you are here. Someone saw you. They're coming this way now.
We can escape. The side door. There's your carriage there.
A carriage that will take us to the boat and then to France.
Oh, quickly, please, while there's still time.
Mademoiselle, have you reckoned all the costs?
I love you.
You will go to France with me.
To the ends of the earth.
Oh, Mary.
I can't keep them out much longer.
Hurry then, my lady. Through the other door and into the garden. I'll meet you there in 10 minutes.
Would you...
Do as I say quickly.
The side door. I'll have the carriage fixed.
There, my friend. Didn't I tell you she was pure gold?
I can't call them. What?
And miss my appointment with Lord Winterset? Oh, no.
You're going to face them?
My friend, face them. Now I can face the army of the English king.
There he is.
But of course. I'm sorry to be late, Captain Badger.
Lord Winterset is waiting for you, Monsieur Barber. Will you come out into the garden, or must we drag you?
Oh, I'll come gladly.
This way, then.
Major Molyneux, you are my second.
Monsieur.
You will see that fair play is done. It may be rather trying.
Give up this mad scheme. Tell them who you are.
Shh, not a word, Major.
No dueling, gentlemen. I beg you. Not
There's a
here.
debt to be settled, sir.
But not here. There will be a scandal. The French ambassador is on his way. Stand aside.
Aha! Milord Winterset and his second. Good evening, gentlemen.
Are you ready, Barber?
I've been looking forward to this meeting for a week. We are to use swords, of course.
You expect me to fight a cutthroat barber with my bare hands?
One doesn't expect Lord Winterset to fight at all, only to talk.
Stand aside. Let me through.
Lady Mary.
Go back to the carriage, milady. This is no place for you.
No.
Gad, ma'am, do you remember who this man is?
Quite well. He's Monsieur Beaucaire.
You see, my lord, there are times when even I have cards up my sleeve.
On guard.
At your service, monsieur.
No, no.
Gentlemen, put up your swords. The ambassador of His Most Christian Majesty King Louis of France, the Marquis de Mirepoix.
At a time like this.
Your master, Barber.
Monsieur, you saved. My dear Marquis, you come to spoil a very good fight. Couldn't you have waited a little while?
Monsieur, you need wear your disguise no longer.
I know. I've been forgiven again.
Oui. His Majesty King Louis
His Majesty King Louis has spoiled the only fight I ever had in my life. I shall never forgive him. Lord Winterset challenged me because I've been your hairdresser.
My honored gentleman, I frowned against his mad humor, but he insisted. But who is he?
One moment. Gentlemen, there is one thing I must ask of you. There is a man here who has forfeited his honor. He played cards with me and cheated. Then, on condition that I would not expose him, he introduced me at Lady Rellerton's ball. He introduced me at the cost of his honor, then betrayed me to redeem it. That liar, that card cheat, that coward. He stands there, Monsieur le Duc de Winterset.
By heaven, I'll know the real name of the man who dares bring such a charge.
May I?
I suppose you must.
Gentlemen, permit me to have the honor to present to you His Royal Highness, Prince Louis-Philippe de Valois, le Duc d'Orléans, Duc de Chartres, Duc de Nemours, Duc de Montcorbier, Comte de Beaujolais, First Prince of the Blood Royal, First Peer of France, Lieutenant General of French Infantry, Governor of Dauphiné, Knight of the Golden Fleece, Grand Master of the Order of Notre Dame, of Mount Carmel, of St. Lazarus in Jerusalem, and cousin of His Most Christian Majesty, the King of France.
Mon Dieu, what a memory he has.
His Royal Highness, the Duc d'Orléans?
The Duke of Orleans will hear from me within the hour.
Monsieur. And whoever carries your message will receive a sound beating from my servant.
Withdraw, please, gentlemen. This way.
Lady Mary.
Monseigneur, it's a terrible mistake I've made. Forgive me.
Forgive? I? No, mademoiselle, it is you who must do the forgiving. I was an impostor. But if you could love an impostor, Could you not love a prince?
But you... It's impossible.
Look at me, Mary.
Your Highness, the ladies of the Assembly are asking for a presentation to His Royal Highness, the Duc d'Orléans.
The honor is his. But first I must introduce to all these people the lady who is to be his duchess.
Duchess? That's only a name, Monseigneur. And I'm done with names. Save one. Monseigneur, present me by that name.
The most beautiful in all the world. Mary. My Mary.
Before Leslie Howard and Elissa Landi join us again, we'll have a word with Ray Jones of the new Universal Studios. Every motion picture requires three types of photographers. The cameraman and crew who film the story, the still man who takes a still picture of every individual scene, and the portrait photographer who shoots those off-screen photographs of your favorites that you see in the newspapers and magazines. Mr. Jones is one of the latter, an expert who, during almost a quarter of a century in Hollywood, has photographed the stars at 6 major studios.
Yes, including Paramount, where I recall making 600 pictures for you and Cleopatra. I remember it particularly because 600 is about twice the number we usually take. Mr. DeMille is one of Hollywood's most ardent believers in still and portrait photography.
And the title of portrait photographer explains itself. But as an ex-still man, Ray, why not a few details on that phase of picture taking? For instance, why are so many still pictures never seen by the public?
Many still pictures I made solely to help the director. Every set where a scene is shot, every costume, makeup, and hairdress of important players is photographed. This is to make certain that we'll know tomorrow exactly what the scene and actors look like today. It eliminates movie boners. For instance, in the road back at Universal, pictures were made of even the haircuts of all the leading male players. We turned these pictures over to the barber who cut their hair every 3 days to keep it at the same length.
And what about the 10-acre set Universal built for that picture?
Well, it's the largest standing set in Hollywood. It has 38 buildings, a public square, a battlefield, cathedral, and railroad station. Some of the other figures might also interest you. There are 10 miles of barbed wire out there and 80 cases of authentic furniture imported from Germany. There were 7 weeks of night work, and the lighting was so powerful that airplanes reported seeing it 113 miles away. During the day, one man was kept at work doing nothing but watching clouds, so the shooting wouldn't be interrupted at a crucial point by the passing of a cloud before the sun.
Now, getting back to portraits, Ray, what type of girl photographs best?
A girl who has a smooth, soft complexion and a nice coat of suntan. Neither makeup nor photographic skill can take the place of a fine skin. A poor complexion calls for lots of makeup, and lots of makeup takes away the fine effects that we create through lighting. This is known by everyone in Hollywood, particularly the stars whom I know use Lux toilet soap constantly to keep their complexions in perfect condition. I think I can speak for all the photographers in Hollywood in saying Lux soap has made our jobs a great deal easier and our results a lot finer. Women fall into 4 general complexion types. The very dark girl, the very light girl, the red-headed girl, and the suntan girl. She, as I said, is my favorite. She is the only type who can be photographed well without makeup. The best pictures, you see, will always be the ones that look the most natural. And now, my thanks to you all.
Fine fade out, Mr. Jones. Our stars shine again as we come now to a brief session with Leslie Howard and Elissa Landi.
Thank you, C.B. You know, Elissa, Mr. DeMille and... I beg your pardon. That's quite wrong. Mr. DeMille and I used to be neighbors. I rather miss being away. The DeMilles had a very nice tennis court, usually occupied by the Howards when the DeMilles wanted to play.
And taking it by and large, you're a pretty good neighbor, Leslie. In spite of the temptations, you never once exercised your polo ponies on my front lawn.
Oh, but I might have if I ever had a chance to play polo over here. That's something I usually must wait for till I get back to England.
Keeping you busy, are they?
Well, I'm too busy for polo. I've just finished a picture for Warner Brothers, and I'm just going to begin another for Walter Wanger. That one's called Stand-In. In that, I play the vice president of a bank. You know, I used to be a clerk in a bank once. That shows you what perseverance will do.
And reminds me of a charming Lewis Carroll verse about a banker's clerk. He thought he saw a banker's clerk descending from the bus. He looked again and found it was a hippopotamus. If this should stay to dine, he said, there won't be much for us.
And I remind you of that, eh? That's very flattering.
And very touching. But I think Leslie's poetry in The Scarlet Pimpernel was much better. I'd heard you talk about you doing a sequel to that picture.
Well, it's possible, Elissa. I'm going back to England this summer to try my luck at being an actor-producer. We'll do either the sequel to The Pimpernel or a picture called Bonnie Prince Charlie.
You know, playing in Monsieur Beaucaire tonight makes me think of England, too. I was just a little girl when I first saw the play in London and danced the minuet. That was long before I ever thought of becoming an actress. But I distinctly remember hoping that if I ever did become an actress, I'd have the chance to play Lady Mary. I always thought it was a charming part. So you see, wishes can come true, and once again I'm indebted to that excellent Lux toilet soap.
The last time you were here, Elissa, you were hard at work on a play. Have you finished it?
Yes, and I finished another novel, too. The play is set in Hollywood. Now all I have to do is to find a publisher for the novel. Good night, Mr. DeMille.
Yeah, and if you find any publishers or an odd hippopotamus or two, just think of us. Goodbye.
To you, Mr. Howard and Miss Landi, our thanks. Mr. Howard appeared through courtesy of Warner Brothers, Miss Landi, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, Mr. DeMille, Paramount, and Louis Silvers, 20th Century Fox, where he is in charge of music for the new film, Wee Willie Winkie. And here is Mr. DeMille. Next Monday night, the Lux Radio Theater presents what is probably the greatest, certainly the most exciting newspaper play ever written. The Front Page by Charles MacArthur and Ben Hecht. The play brings to our stage one of the most remarkable gentlemen of our generation, a newspaper man who has brought a new style to journalism, a new idiom to the English language, and a new star to Hollywood, Walter Winchell. And starring with Mr. Winchell, Joan Bennett and James Gleason. One of the great news stories of the week, and one of the great enterprises of the age, is the round-the-world flight of Amelia Earhart. Tonight, Miss Earhart is in Java. And next Monday night, if she continues her flight on scheduled time, she will be here as our special guest in the Lux Radio Theater to tell you in person for the first time since her return something of her adventures on the trip. However, if Miss Earhart is delayed en route, she has graciously consented to keep her date with us here on July 5th. Our sponsors, the makers of Lux Toilet Soap, join me in inviting you to be with us again next Monday night when the Lux Radio Theater presents Walter Winchell and Joan Bennett in The Front Page with James Gleason. And if possible, as special guest, Miss Amelia Earhart. This is Cecil B. DeMille saying good night to you from Hollywood. Your announcer has been Melville Ruick. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.